being the appointed hour, I'll call this, whatever the date is, October,
October 6th,
6th,
believe it or not.
October 6th, 2025 meeting of the Grafton Planning Board to order. Since we have a remote participant, we'll have to have a roll call.
All right.
Do you still want me to do it, even though I'm the remote person?
Let him do it.
I'll do it since I'm in the room. Mr. Dalimova.
Go ahead. Here.
I am here. Mr. Robbins
Mr. Robbins is here.
and Mr. Hassinger.
I'm here.
And then we have our associate member, Mr. Mead,
Mr. Mead's here.
and staff Fiona Coughlin
Present.
and Natalia Alward.
Present.
Seems like everyone is here and functioning. That brings us to our first agenda item. As always, this is public input. If anyone has something they want to talk about that's within our purview, that's not otherwise on the agenda, this is your time to raise a hand and let us know your chance to speak. I see no hands. Lot release. Section 1, definitive plan approval, DP 2020, the ridings. It's a request for a correction of the May lot release.
Yes. So, Mr. Chair, so this document is being presented to the board this evening because the original lot release request from May 2024 for lots LL2, LL4, LC1, LC3, and LC5 from the Ridings subdivision did not include the request to release them from the covenant. It just requested release from the condition of the decision. So the applicant is presenting a revised request here with all of the appropriate notations, including confirmation of the correct book and page numbers for the board's consideration. So I'm happy to answer any questions about this.
Does anybody have any questions? Seeming not. I think we're supposed to vote on doing this before we do it.
Yes.
Is there a motion?
Move the board grant the release of the lots as requested.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Is there discussion? Hearing none. Roll call.
All right. Mr. Dalimova.
Aye.
I vote aye. Mr. Robbins
Aye.
and Mr. Hassinger.
I vote aye. Motion carries unanimously. This needs to be signed while Natalia is
Yes.
in the loop here.
So
She's going to notarize it, so
yes.
why don't we do it now?
Yeah, I would recommend doing it now, so not to do it tonight at a late hour. So just please, if you could just,
I, Justin Wood,
Thank you.
acknowledge the execution of the foregoing instrument to be my free act and deed.
We're supposed to say it?
yes, please.
Or- Is that a magic pen or is
That's
that
just the pen I had.
Oh, all right. I, Robert Hassinger, acknowledge the execution of the foregoing instrument to be my free act and deed. And I sign up there.
Is that your pen, Justin?
That was the pen I was using. It's technically the room's pen.
Oh, okay.
Ray doesn't get to sign that.
Let's see.
Right.
Okay, so
I, David Robbins, acknowledge the execution of the foregoing instrument to be my free act and deed.
I don't remember having to do quite that. Well, I guess maybe, but,
So
okay.
for, sorry, Mr. Chair, so for Greg, I think we can,
Yeah.
Natalia advised me if I procedurally am not getting this right, but Greg can sign, at a later date in
He
front
can
of
come
you.
in at his convenience and sign before me, and that would be fine. Or we do have a majority signing it, so technically it's fine.
Okay. Alrighty, so we do
I
have a
can
majority
come in. You let
signing.
me know.
For some
Okay,
reason,
thank you.
the sound is even more difficult than usual. Probably whatever I did there. North Grafton Transit Village Overlay District Subzone 1. Vote to approve and submit letter to EOHLC re-affordability reduction request. I think we talked about this, didn't we?
Yes, sorry, 1 second. Okay, so the board may recall at the last meeting, there was a request from the developer of, North Grafton Transit Village, District Subzone A, also known as 8 Pine Street, to reduce the affordability requirement for the development from 20% to 25, which is
Reduce it from
25 to
20,
5.
I'm sorry, from 25% to 20%. Thank you. Oh boy. Okay, here we go. Long night ahead. So this was a provision that's allowed for in the zoning for this overlay district with written approval from EOHLC. So the board at the last meeting had discussed the implications of this and did request that I follow up with EOHLC about temporarily reducing the affordability requirement contingent upon construction starting within 2 years of the recording of the new permit with the clerk's office. So I drafted, I'm sorry, before that, so EOHLC had corresponded with me directly and said, the 25% affordability requirement is a local decision and like a local option, more or less. So they have no concerns at the local level if this is to be reduced. And if the board would prefer to have it be reduced temporarily contingent upon start of construction, that was not an issue from the perspective of EOHLC. So I think we should discuss, I know that we do have Sarah Stein on from O'Connell Development Group, who is part owner of the property, to discuss further. But I did draft this letter summarizing essentially what was discussed at the last meeting, my conversations with Mr. William Rayalt at EOHLC, and referencing the required sections of our zoning that allow this to be possible. So.
Are you okay with us doing this the way we've got it?
Yes, thank you. I, appreciate your time a couple weeks ago, and I took a look at this letter earlier today, and this seems fine to me. Thank you very much.
Okay. Any discussion, any questions? Motion?
Move the board approve, or whatever the more, if there's a more appropriate terminology, but approve this request to be forwarded to EOHLC.
With the signatory being Fiona Coughlin on behalf of the board.
Yeah,
With the signatory being Fiona Coughlin on behalf of the board.
that works.
Yes.
All right, I second that.
Moved and seconded. Is there a discussion? Any discussion?
Greg does have his hand up.
Craig?
Yeah. Yes.
Great.
Just want to make sure I'm reading this right. So we're basically acknowledging the reduction in the affordability component, but that is all contingent on a new plan that is approved by us, or it says filed with the town clerk's office.
No.
So
Yes.
there's going to be a new site plan that gets approved by us.
I
and
think
then
this
from there,
is
there's
just,
2 years.
they have to have pulled the building permit within 2 years, right?
If I may, Mr. Chair, so the this is structured so the developer is planning to come before the board again for a new site plan approval.
Yeah. But
It'll be a different project than what was originally approved in 2021 with a reduced unit count, and no structured parking and a significantly reduced retail component. So this letter is structured that it's 2 years. So if the board were to approve this revised project, and it would be stamped in with the town clerk's office, and the start of construction would need to be 2 years from the date of the recording / stamping in of the new site plan approval, also called project plan approval from the town clerk.
that's not what I wanted. What I wanted was 2 years from now.
Well, there's no project yet.
Well,
I
then,
mean, we would be fine with
what is
putting
this-
a
what is
date on either the, oops, sorry.
what is, if you have to have a new plan for it to make any sense, then why do we do this at all?
Because we need to make sure that we're appropriately documenting that this request was done in line with the zoning, and then the eventual decision will reflect that
I
request.
understand, but we might be 10 years till we have a plan. And this, my idea is, I don't know what the situation will be out there in the future. And,
We would be fine with adding another restriction that either, construction needs to start within 2 years from now with the existing plan, or a new plan needs to be submitted within 18 months and construction started 2 years or 18 months after that. I understand the concern, and from our side, they're fine with adding another restriction, so that it couldn't go out indefinitely.
I know you had trouble hearing that, Bob. Just to please correct me if I misstate what you just said, but the proponent of this project is comfortable if we add a restriction that this reduction must coincide with start of construction on the existing plan within 2 years, and or a new plan needs to be submitted within 18 months or something like that, or 2 years, to do this in a different layout. Like, basically, they're okay with assigning a date to this.
I want construction to start within 2 years,
So I will
or some deadline.
So I will say that through the Mass Leads Act, also known as the Permit Extension Act, this there is an automatic extension for this permit in place anyway.
For the current.
For the current permit.
For an extension for
Yes,
what,
for the project to start construction. So Ms. Stein was before the board in, I believe, late 2024 requesting an extension of the project, which was granted because that fell within the time frame of the third Permit Extension Act. That request was granted an automatic 2-year extension. So I just want the board to be aware of that.
Yeah, so the project as currently designed is designed with a 25% affordability.
Right.
So if the project as currently designed moves forward, this request is kind of, this reduction to 20% really wouldn't make any sense, because that's not the current project.
No,
So-
I guess if I may, our hope would be that if for some reason, construction prices changed enough in the next 12 months to make the existing permitted project work, we would still be looking for the 20% on that project as designed. So I guess what I was hoping is that either that the 20%, the 25 change to 20 would be implemented if either construction starts for the plan as submitted within 2 years, which, as Fiona mentioned, we have until June of 2027 that the site plan approval is good for, or if a new plan is submitted, that it needs to be submitted within say 18 months of tonight, and then construction started within 18 months or 2 years of that date, just to give flexibility. Like I said, the intention at this point is to redesign. But either for a redesigned, or if we were to go back to the original plan, we would be looking for the 20%.
Okay, so this does tend to be a little bit confusing, but I think as I understand it at the moment is the project proponent is looking for an allowance that the project under its current design be reduced to 20% affordability. You know, that's already an approved plan. And so, you know, one angle on this request that we are now discussing would be that the project as currently designed starts construction within 2 years of today, or a new project design is submitted to the board and there be a requirement that construction on that start within 2 years of the date that's approved, that new design is approved. And if it takes that path, I think a further thing the board might be interested in is an expectation that a new design be approved, submitted to the board and approved within 2 years of today.
So you're looking to extend the 20% for 4 years from now?
2 years if the current project design is used,
No.
but if a
It'd be
new
2
design
years
comes in.
until you get the new plan approved, and then 2 years for the 20%. So
Yeah.
you're going out 4 years.
That would take it out, because I think realistically, a new design is going to take some amount of time to be designed, reviewed, and approved, and then some amount of time after that before construction will begin. So we have to kind of try to factor all of that in.
I have a middle ground thought and a suggestion if the proponent is okay with it and the board is okay with it, you know, as a thought. What if we just set a date for basically 3 years from now, December 31st, for the 20% reduction to start construction, no matter which plan they choose?
Yeah, I think that is somewhat more straightforward, just because what we're actually asking for is a change to the zoning bylaw, not to be affiliated with a certain project, but to be affiliated with this zone. And this zone is really just our property. But I do think that I guess I agree that would probably be the most straightforward path.
Yeah, the amount of time is my concern.
I mean,
So
I
you
would like as
don't
much-
think you're gonna get in here with a new plan real soon?
The whole, next year, sometime, early next year at some point. I mean, it's at least 6 to 8 months away.
Mr. Chair. So the last time we discussed this, the old plans were going out the window. There won't be any retail, there won't be 300 and something units, there's only gonna be 180 or whatever units left, so why are we even talking about the old project? Or trying to, you know, say that if we go with the old project, they're not gonna go with the old project. They're not gonna do that project because it was explained to us that they're not going to do it anymore. So why can't we, and correct me if I'm wrong, delay this until they are prepared to file a new plan and we actually get to see what the plan is and see how many units there is and see if there's any retail, which there probably isn't gonna be, because they gotta make this work. So I'm not sure why we're going through this process when it really means nothing, really.
And I think part of making it work
Just
is
as a
affordability.
guess, just as a guess, maybe if I were in their position, I'd like to know whether I'm gonna be able to have the 20 when I'm figuring out the economics of the new plan. Would that be a good guess?
Yeah, that's accurate. Both figuring out the economics and as we spend money on
Well-
a new site plan, a new design, knowing.
I don't
it's
see,
going-
first of all, if there isn't a new plan, we can't extend a deadline for it. anyway. I think it's entirely possible that if things are going well at the end of 2 years, but it's not time yet, we can come back and do this again. For, or even at the time that, in the process of approving a new plan.
So, if I may, Mr. Chair, so my conversations with UHLC and this letter were drafted with the understanding that a new project was going to be coming before the board. And that's all the language is tailored around that. So I did not include language or any accommodations for the reduction of the current approved project to 20%. That is a larger conversation that needs to be had.
And that's fine. I guess I just am fine with if we want to just have this for a certain period of time. And like I said last time, what we are intending is a redesign.
It sounds to me like 2 years should be a reasonable amount of time to get to the first shovel in the dirt or whatever it takes, the issuance of the permit or the.
Through you, Mr. Chair. Sarah, I mean, what is the likelihood that the old project would ever happen? I mean, it seems that will not happen.
I mean, if in the next couple months rates started to go the right way and things, we may take one last look at it if we had this 20% and a couple other things went the right way. But the reason I'm here is because we're looking at, how we can get this moving, and most likely that's a redesign. But I guess I'm fine with the letter as written, but I do understand that it doesn't restrict when we have to submit a new plan. I'm fine with putting it in that construction needs to start within 2 years of now, or the requirement goes back up to 25%. Like Mr. Chair said, if we're there in 14 months with a new plan, it's taken us longer. I would hope that at that point we could, if we needed another 6 or 12 months, we could talk about it. But for today, having the 2 years from now would help us in our planning and our decision-making and putting more resources into a new site plan, a new architectural design.
If that works for the applicant, I'd say
2 years
2
from
years
now.
from today. 2 years from the date we signed the letter. or the
Is there
date
any
we
further
approved it.
discussion?
For both scenarios? For both
No.
development scenarios?
There isn't any second scenario at this point.
Yeah, so I think that's, it's an easy way to approach this. Is the reduction to 20% applies for 2 years from today, and that allows it to cover the unlikely event that the current project can work at 20%. It covers a new project, and it allows as a contingency. It's sort of we don't need to make it
I don't
any more
see-
complicated than
I
that.
don't see how it covers a new project that doesn't exist.
I think my understanding is that we're doing the reduction for the zone until start of construction on
Yes,
a project for this property.
it's a reduction that applies to the zone, not to a specific project,
Yes.
and that's
Well, then,
that's important.
Does everybody in the zone get the same thing?
Yes, the
We're
applicant
the only
is everybody
property
in the zone.
Well, how many are?
It's just, the zone is actually just this 8-acre parcel.
Yeah.
It's just that lot.
Yes, that
Mr.
lot
Chair-
is
All
the
right.
zone.
Mr. Dalimoli does have his hand up.
Go ahead.
Oh, well, we're kind of sorting it out, but yeah, my original question was more about that we were going to see a plan. So I'll just put out there that I don't have as many concerns about the time constraint on the 20 or if it applies to the zone, but I just want us to see a new plan as it relates to the original RFP. I think because that's the part where we really have to understand the details, because otherwise we have the risk of setting the precedent that you can, win an RFP and then it massively changes. Like, we want to make the property work, but so, I'll just throw in on mine, like, whatever y'all come up with in terms of giving them the confidence to write a new plan with the 20, as part of it, I support that. But I am interested, and that's another conversation, the details of the new site plan.
And just from our perspective, we understand that that's the next step.
I think we need we need to withdraw the motion in my second and do a new motion.
Yes. Move that the board approve this request with the deadline being 2 years from today's date.
Second.
Authorize the planner to sign the letter on the board's behalf.
Moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Delamole.
Aye.
I vote aye. Mr. Robbins.
Aye.
And Mr. Hassinger.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you all. I very much appreciate your time.
Long evening.
Yeah. We'll look forward to the new project design at our next meeting.
Thank you. Have a good night.
All right, let me see, bills.
I move that we approve the payment of our bills.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Delamole.
Aye.
I vote aye. Mr. Robbins.
Aye.
And Mr. Hassinger.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Minutes of previous meetings. Do we have any?
We're working on it.
We have none.
The answer is no, we don't have any. Staff report.
I'll be brief. I've been preparing. I will be out from the 13th through the 22nd. So I've been focusing mostly on preparing for this meeting this evening and our next one. And just kind of the regular day to day. I haven't been focusing as much on longer range projects. Just preparing draft decisions, helping out applicants with questions that they have, etc. So I'm happy to answer any questions that the board has, or if there's something you'd like me to elaborate on.
Is there anything? Apparently not. Correspondence.
Yes.
There was one interesting thread that I saw that is just more for the zoning enforcement officer to take a look at and act as they see fit. But
My understanding is that, well, Fiona can tell us, I think that the zoning officer and, what is it, Board of Health are both
Yes.
actively engaged
Yep.
already. And
Right.
I'm not sure that we have any enforcement ability. We can
No.
say, hey, folks, let's see about this. But I think that's about the end of it for us, isn't it?
yeah, our enforcement, to my knowledge, is our decision, which then the zoning enforcement officer gets to
Yep.
do stuff with.
All right.
Yep.
Correspondence. Any reports from planning board representatives on town committees or CMRPC? Apparently no.
Well, I suppose this is not much in the way of a report, but as I am the board's representative on the Open Space and Recreation Committee, the Open Space and Recreation Committee did have a meeting last week, at which mainly we just brought the committee up to date on a few things that have been happening. The committee is going to be working on identifying more parcels of open space that the committee thinks maybe should go under control of the Conservation Commission. The committee will be working on that at upcoming meetings, but nothing came out of our meeting last week.
Okay. And that
Two,
brings us
one,
to
7:30.
7:30, which allows us to start our public hearings with the zoning bylaw amendment articles.
Actually, I don't have the legal notice in my packet for that, so give me a moment to pull it up. Pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 40A, Section 5, the Grafton Planning Board will hold a public hearing on Monday, October 6, 2025, commencing at 7:30 p.m. in Conference Room A at the Grafton Memorial Municipal Center, 30 Providence Road, Grafton, Mass. The purpose of this public hearing is to provide interested parties with the opportunity to comment on proposed amendments to the Grafton zoning bylaw, which have been submitted to the 2025 Fall Annual Town Meeting warrant as follows. ZBL 2025-04. I'm going to skim this a little bit, and sir, it's for use regulations scheduled to establish definitions, regulations, and permitting requirements for protected use accessory dwelling units (ADUs) in response to the signing of the Affordable Homes Act into law, which is Chapter 150 of the Acts of 2024, and the promulgation of ADU regulations by the Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities, 760 CMR 71. Protected use accessory dwelling units. Section 8 of the Affordable Homes Act amends the Zoning Act to allow protected use ADUs up to 900 square feet to be built by right in single-family zoning districts. A complete copy of the text of the proposed amendments to the Grafton zoning bylaw is on file with the town clerk and the planning board office in the Grafton Memorial Municipal Center and is available for inspection during normal business hours.
Okay.
So I'll do a brief spiel. So this is the ADU, the amendment to the zoning for protected use ADUs. As Mr. Wood just stated, this law is in effect, and you could get a building permit today if you wanted to do a protected use ADU in a single family zoning district. Our bylaw is, we do not have a bylaw that covers the areas of the law that leave discretion up to towns. So we have proposed language here highlighted in green to basically cover more or less the fundamentals. We did not want to rehash the law and the regulations that are in place. The goal was to keep this very simple, propose some definitions, reiterate the parking requirements, have a small section under section 5, special regulations, to just provide the clarification that's needed, namely that a protected use ADU in Grafton cannot be a short-term rental. If you would like a protected use ADU, that qualifies under the definition, it would be subject to a site plan approval through the planning board. And if you would like a second protected use ADU on the lot where one already exists, that would be subject to a special permit and site plan approval by the planning board as well. So I drafted a planning board report, which is required to be submitted to town meeting on behalf of the board. I do want to raise a couple of, an issue that was brought to my attention when I went before the finance committee for their annual review of the town meeting warrant articles. They did recommend that we clarify the language in 2 areas to specify that a second protected use ADU is allowed on a lot subject to special permit. The way that it's written now, it says more than one protected use ADU on a lot in a single family residential zoning district in which a protected use ADU is already located shall require a special permit from the planning board. Their concern was that, a person that's trying to interpret this could interpret it as you could have as many protected use ADUs on the lot as you'd like. But we want to be very clear that we're only allowing for a second through the special permit process, which is discretionary on behalf of the board. So I did include a summary of what FinCom had suggested and outlined in the report, the changes that this will ultimately, at this point, obviously the warrant is closed, so this will need to be addressed as a floor amendment at town meeting to revise the language. So that's kind of the key point that I wanted to highlight for the board and get your thoughts on. through the hearing process, and obviously give the public an opportunity to comment as well.
Yep, I mean, are we saying that two is the absolute upper limit?
We are saying that a second,
No.
Yes.
That, 'cause
Yes.
You were saying that differently, like the third one and the fourth one, you're not talking about.
right, the intention is to only allow for a second and not
Do we-
have three
do
or
we
four
s-
plus.
Do we say that in the law? That one additional ADU done this way, is allowed, but only one additional one?
Yeah, I mean, EUHLC and the state are, they specifically outline that, a second is allowed, but if if the municipality wanted to opt to have more, that's totally at their discretion, but, as we're all getting new to the, acquainted with the law, we thought the second is what we should stick with for now.
I'm pretty sure the webinar last week that I did on this made it clear that nothing is clear about this. I wasn't real happy. Well, I wasn't happy with not so much the webinar as the situation and the they're making it up as they go along, and I don't know. Anyway, I wouldn't want to have language where someone could interpret it. Okay, second one needs a special permit, but who knows? We don't say anything about the third one and the fourth one. And the principal use is small and then it gets enlarged, or this and that, and I have no idea. What does everybody else think?
So I think, as I recall, and I sort of I reread some of the regs, we don't have to allow more than one ADU, period. The first one is clearly as of right. If we choose to allow more than one, it's by special permit. And the language,
Can be.
right, we can allow more than one by special permit. We are not required to. So, and then we're, what the suggested modification here is that you get one by right and you get one by special permit, and that's it. That's the intention.
Right.
And I think, as I would read this as prohibiting any more than the first by right and the second by special permit. Although, as Bob points out, there's a lot of little wrinkles that are, I think, remain somewhat unclear.
And we're writing bylaws that affect people's rights and opportunities.
If it's not named in the bylaw and not explicitly allowed by state law, that means it's not allowed. That's my understanding.
You didn't do the webinar, did you?
No, I did not do the webinar.
That's-
I-
And then there's what if you put in your request before we change the bylaw again to prohibit the thing that you think you can get
Yeah.
by playing with? Let's just do this.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I'm not gonna try to talk to people at town meeting about this.
I will say this amendment is, to me, unequivocally better than what we had before.
Yeah.
Good.
It's clear.
But that's with the whole amendment, or the floor amendment to the amendment?
The floor amendment.
To the,
Yes.
good. What about the amendment? Which is what we're having
Yeah.
the main thing we're having the hearing on.
I'm still comfortable moving forward with it, at least for myself.
You're okay with it?
Yep.
How about you? Greg?
Yep.
How do you feel?
I'm comfortable. move forward.
Okay,
Yeah, for all the discussions we've had around this, I think we've pared this down to what we thought was the minimum we had to do. So,
how about,
seeing no other public comment on this, I suppose we could ask the public who was in attendance if they had anything to,
well, I suppose
Comment
because
on
of the
this.
hearing, that would be good, although I haven't seen any hands yet, either online or in the room.
we have no attendees online.
Well, that would keep down the number of hands.
So, given that we have taken all the public input that there is to be had at this point, I move that we close the hearing and approve the planning board report as drafted, including the language about the floor amendment.
I will second that.
Moved and seconded. Discussion. Hearing none.
Mr. Delamole.
Aye.
I vote aye. Mr. Robbins.
Aye.
And Mr. Hassinger.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Press on. Let's see, is that? Yeah, we are doing a presentation on the master plan?
Yeah, we prepared a short master plan presentation to summarize the efforts and notify town meeting all of the work that went into it.
And that's okay with the
The moderator
moderator?
approved it.
Okay.
Yep.
And the
We also have a handout.
select board, and the select board's not giving us a problem. Well, we can put things on the warrant.
Yes, no problems with the master plan.
Yeah, I don't think anybody,
The
Yes.
select board closed the warrant with that article on it,
with
with an article,
the presentation.
presentation.
Great. All right, moving right along. Site plan approval, SP 2025-02, 21 Grafton Common. Steve Belfour?
Pursuant to section 1.3.3 of the Town of Grafton zoning bylaw, the planning board will hold a public hearing on Monday, October 6, 2025, commencing at 7:30 p.m. in conference room A of the Grafton Memorial Municipal Center, 30 Providence Road, to consider an application for site plan approval for an establishment selling food prepared for immediate consumption and selling food prepared for seasonal outdoor consumption on property located at 21 Grafton Common, as shown as Grafton Assessors Map 74, Lot 79. Said property is located in a neighborhood business NB zoning district. The applicant is Stephen Belfiore, and the owner is 1012 Bridge Street LLC. A copy of the application materials is available for public inspection at the planning department during regular business hours or on the Town of Grafton website at www.grafton-ma.gov on the Planning Department Development Products webpage.
Ready? Okay, so as Mr. Wood said, the application before you this evening is for a site plan approval for a change in use from a commercial real estate office to an establishment selling food prepared for immediate consumption where customers are served primarily at a table or counter. And there will also be a outdoor dining component to this. So they will have a seasonal outdoor consumption where customers are served primarily at a table or counter. The site is going to remain essentially unchanged. This is really more for the change of use. There is currently an ADA accessible ramp that will be connecting to the building's side entrance, and also to the side deck where the outdoor seating will be located. There is no proposal, there's no inclusion rather in the application to change grading or utilities or drainage or anything of that nature. The applicant has been corresponding regularly with the building department and has, all of the internal renovations that are proposed and outlined in my memo are covered by that department. That's pretty much all I have. I did have a couple of questions I just wanted to clarify with the applicant this evening. Just namely questions about parking and loading, where that will occur, and just clarifying hours of operation, just for the record. Peer review isn't applicable to this because it's just a simple change in use ask. And yeah, I'm happy to answer any questions that the board has, and then otherwise appropriate to turn it over to the applicant.
I don't think we got an actual site plan that shows the parking for this building, did we?
Hi, Steve.
I've been, I was looking, I saw the outdoor deck, and I don't see something that shows me whether, where that's going, or whether it's already there, and all of that. So I was a little confused about that, otherwise it sounds good. And I wanna know, is this moving over there and leaving the lovely spot right on the corner there?
It is.
Go ahead and tell us who you
Steve
are.
Belfiore, 26 South Street. Yeah, so we are moving. So we're currently in the townhouse. So the Uncommon Cow is the cafe. We purchased the building last year from the McGills at 21 Grafton Common. So yeah, we were, there was a lot of things we were doing with this building. We were going to do a third location, and then I decided to just continue what we have and move it over, and have a little bit more food. So we're gonna have more breakfast and more lunch options, bigger menu. Obviously, we'll have parking, and some outdoor seating. The permit is in, and the drawings are there for the deck. I don't know. I didn't have them in here, but they're with the building department.
Because
we have the permit.
Find them, but that's
Yeah.
a pretty likely story, but
Yeah.
I can't.
So the deck, I mean, one side is the parking lot, which it's where the Grafton Inn is. They have their patio.
Oh, yeah,
So our patio will be same.
okay, so it's not taking up any existing parking.
No, it's just going to take up some grass area and all
You're
the
not gonna
bushes and
connect
stuff.
the two, right?
No,
Oh,
maybe someday.
well, then,
Your next project, right?
Yeah.
you could have liquor service with the ice cream.
I'm getting old. So yeah, so there'll be a deck there, and then Fiona had mentioned the one thing. The deck is obviously to serve customers, but it's also going to allow ADA accessibility. So we put a side entrance, and there'll be parking. We actually bought some land and swapped some land with the Grafton Inn owners, and so we got the back area, and we're going to create two handicap parking spaces, which will bring you into a ramp coming in the side. So because otherwise there'd be no way to get in the building. The columns in the front are too tight to allow a wheelchair. So we are actually making the building, accessible, which I think is a good thing.
Is the historic district, does it have any say-so, or?
Yeah, I've been with them 5 times, and I got another application in there for the sign in a couple weeks. But they've already approved the deck, the window, like a lot of the stuff. Yeah, we've dealt with the historic committee.
You probably have to get a sign permit from us too, don't you?
It's in there. That's in there now, right? Well, not permit, but we were talking about that, right? The sign.
Yeah, we were.
Yeah,
We were talking about it.
But that'll.
The permit's
We
in.
don't have it here.
Yeah, we're going through Sunshine Sign,
Sure.
and they're doing the permitting, and Tracy's already got it, and
So
I'm
we'll
in
see
front
that.
of the, yeah,
We'll see that.
yeah.
And the historical people will probably be.
That
worried
application
about
is also in.
Okay. And more that you want to tell us.
That you had times of day. We're going to continue the times that we have now. So we are open 8 to 7 every day in the winter, and then we go to 9 in the summer. We get more ice cream. And then as far as parking goes, I mean, we do have the parking lot that we own. I'm guessing that's probably about 17, maybe 20 spots when we're done with it. We're going to restripe it and make it so that you can see where to park, where that wasn't there before.
Do we know where we stand on required parking for this?
So the historic district is exempt, so parking could be utilized on the street for this. I did count, on the aerial, I counted 18 spaces, so it was, one space for every 3 seats plus each employee is what the bylaw requires. I seem to that based on.
Yeah, I mean, based on, so when we opened the Uncommon Cow in the spot we're in now, about 2.5 years ago, we talked about parking. And then if I remember, Bob, we've got exempt for that whole area, all the establishments and the businesses that are in the area. So we all utilize the parking within the common.
Yes.
Obviously, the different hours are better, but we're gaining more parking because before that was owned by someone that parking lot was pretty much empty. So,
Yeah.
so we definitely have enough parking. There's only going to, it's going to be designed the same way that we have it now. So a lot of grab and go and stuff, but you will be able to sit down too.
With more breakfast and whatnot, I kind of picture more people, and I want to be sure that traffic flows.
Yep.
Will there be a restriction on people using your parking lot? Or, can it function at all as another place that people can park when they're around the common?
I mean, it would be difficult because of my hours, but after 7, yeah, I'd allow anybody to park there. So I guess you could say the Townhouse Tavern could use it because they're open later. Yeah,
No,
I would allow that.
I'm just thinking about all the people that show up for various things.
Yeah.
And they're wandering around and, because of I think the exemption goes both ways. There's enough, with all the parking around the common area, there's enough.
Yeah,
But people have to be able to use all of it.
right.
So, okay, cool.
So, number one, congratulations on the success of your business so far that you're expanding. That's always good to see.
Thank you.
I do have some I'm gonna say out loud concerns on just the traffic flow around the common and this property. But that said, this is still gonna be a lot better than for your business than what you had before parking in front there where
Right.
everyone's trying to go. So it's that's not a concern that will prevent me from saying yes on this project. But I think this looks like it's gonna be good, adding the handicap accessibility. Quite happy with, and I don't see anything so far that bothers me other than what Fiona had in her memo that was already mentioned. So,
Okay.
at least so far.
Talking about, parking capacity, should we be anticipating the inn? Needing
Well, there's plenty of parking there right now.
I mean, there's plenty of parking for the barber shop, but, I don't know what else.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on over there.
And the future
Okay.
of the inn is
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
unknowable at this
Yeah.
time.
That's 100% of everybody I know that I've read. Okay, well, is there anyone who wants to make comments, or anyone up here who wants to ask more questions?
Mr. Chair, I just wanted to confirm. So, Steve, so the typical loading is just going to be like the typical delivery trucks that you're seeing to Uncommon Cow now, and they just pull up to the side there. I assuming it's in this kind of general area here.
It's right in the back corner. Yep. Right
Okay.
there. Yeah, and most of once a lot of our deliveries are done early, so there's not, 6 o'clock in the morning. There's not a lot of traffic going on in the common. So trucks like that typically we won't have big trucks coming in during the day. After 10 o'clock in the morning,
Okay.
the latest.
Perfect. I just wanted to make sure.
And it's usually like twice a week we get deliveries.
Okay. Great.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Anybody else? Anybody? Hands? No hands online.
I'll move the board close the public hearing and direct staff to draft a decision.
Second,
Moved and seconded. Discussion.
Fiona, there's nothing that we need further before closing the hearing on this, correct?
No.
Okay.
Nope.
Perfect.
Discussion. Hearing none.
Mr. Delamole,
Aye.
I vote aye. Mr. Robbins
Aye.
and Mr. Hassel.
Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you
How
very
soon are
much.
you gonna be open?
I'm hoping by the end of the year, we're moving over. We got a little hiccup right now with some power, but we'll get there.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Alrighty,
Next.
yes. This brings us to two special permits slash site plans on a shared piece of property. And they interact closely. And I'm wondering if anyone would object if we held both hearings simultaneously, so that we can talk over the whole thing without having a problem about bouncing it back and forth. Anybody? No one online objecting? Okay,
All right.
both.
Then I'll read both public hearing notices for this. So, pursuant to sections 1.5.7 and 1.3.3 of the Town of Grafton zoning bylaws, the planning board will hold a public hearing on Monday, October 6, 2025, commencing at 7:30 p.m. in Conference Room A of the Grafton Memorial Municipal Center, 30 Providence Road, to consider an application for a special permit and site plan approval for a restaurant, microbrewery, and other retail establishment up to 5,000 square feet of floor area, as well as shared parking with 1 Hawthorne Street on property located at 215 Worcester Street, shown as Grafton Census Map 35, Lot 12. Said property is located in a Village Mixed Use VMU zoning district. The applicant owner is 215 Properties LLC. A copy of the application plan is available for public inspection at the planning department during regular business hours or on the Town of Grafton website at www.grafton-ma.gov on the Planning Department Development Projects webpage. Now the second notice, pursuant to section 1.3.3 of the Town of Grafton zoning bylaw, the planning board will hold a public hearing on Monday, October 6, 2025, commencing at 7:30 p.m. in Conference Room A at the Grafton Memorial Municipal Center, 30 Providence Road, to consider an application for site plan approval for a daycare facility and shared parking area with 215 Worcester Street on property located at 1 Hawthorne Street, as shown on Grafton Assessor's Map 35, Lot 14. Said property is located in a Village Mixed Use VMU zoning district. The applicant owner is 215 Properties LLC. A copy of the application material is available for public inspection at the planning department during regular business hours or on the Town of Grafton website at www.grafton-ma.gov on the Planning Department Development Projects webpage.
Okay. I will try to succinctly summarize what's going on. So the applications, one for 215 Worcester Street and one for 1 Hawthorne Street, locally known as Bolek Plaza, so there's going to be a couple of different things going on here. So the applicant is proposing at 215 Worcester Street to have, in the existing commercial building fronting Worcester Street, a microbrewery, an establishment selling food prepared for immediate consumption where customers are served primarily at a table or counter, a establishment selling food for seasonal outdoor consumption where customers are served primarily at a table or counter, and what's classified as an other retail establishment, which is under 5,000 square feet of floor area per establishment. In addition to those use requests, they're also proposing a shared parking agreement that will be in place between the two properties that capitalizes on the staggered hours of every operation. So with that being said, 1 Hawthorne Street is proposing a daycare. So that existing building is going to be refurbished, and a daycare is being proposed there that will also utilize the shared parking agreement. The applicant has submitted into the record a parking narrative that explains a lot of the requirements of our zoning, including hours of operation, how the uses will essentially share the parking, and basically how the flow will occur. I did summarize in my memo a lot of most of this, so the board and the members of the public can read that at their leisure. It's a casual 19 pages, so have fun with that. So multiple site improvements are proposed as part of this ask. The buildings are pre-existing non-conforming buildings on a pre-existing site. The area is zoned VMU Worcester Street. This application is going to significantly improve utility access, landscaping, requirements of outdoor amenity spaces, increasing the vegetated buffer around our perimeter, which is typically a requirement for new developments, as well as just improving general site access and circulation. No additional curb cuts are proposed. There is going to be an improved access drive on the Williams Road side of the area. That will align with the access drive for the neighboring Cumberland Farms property at 217. I'm not going to go too much into the history. Obviously, this site, these buildings have existed for a long time, and there's a lot of interconnecting improvements that are going on. Just to highlight, some work has been done. The Oasis building has been knocked. The applicant, the town rather, is in the process of bringing Jonkus Terrace, which is on the other side of the application, into conformance with subdivision rules and regs, and taking that that road rather as a public way. So that's kind of happening in tandem with this, and the applicant has been made aware of that and has been part of those conversations. So I just wanted everyone to be aware of, these things are going on in tandem. So, to be honest with you, I do have a few questions, but I think at this point, we can probably turn it over to the applicant and their engineer to elaborate on specifics in the site plan, and go over any questions that the board may have.
Can you outline the authority we have relative to this shared parking?
So the shared parking is under the jurisdiction of the planning board, per the zoning bylaw. So the tricky part of this is that, well, it doesn't explicitly say in the zoning bylaw that it's granted via special permit, but out of an abundance of caution, I would just have the board, when they're reviewing the applications, to review 215 and come to a decision on that property prior to the daycare, because daycares are a protected use under the Dover Amendment. So we just want to make sure that we're not requiring any kind of overburdensome requests for that use. So but yes, the board is the authority to approve shared parking through the site plan review process.
Okay, well, I guess we're ready to hear from, is it really one applicant for both?
Yes.
Do we have the applicant?
We do indeed. I have John Federico, he's on camera, he's from Gary and Howland.
You need to,
Sorry about that. I have Brian Fitzgerald from 215 Properties LLC. And,
if you can get closer to it.
how's that?
Yeah, everybody else.
Can I get out?
Yeah,
It's
but
gonna
I
be the
can't.
trick, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
you're the applicant.
I am. And I have John Federico online here. He is the one that was gonna present the opening of it, and I can certainly answer any questions that you folks might have and address any of the
for
special
it.
things.
Say who you are and then do it.
Great. Thank you, Brian. For the record, John Federico with Gurrier and Hellnon. Thank you all for having us tonight. Fiona pretty much covered a lot of the points that I was going to hit for our opening discussions here. But just to kind of bring up a few extra points to kind of help fill in the overall picture. Yes, this is an existing site that has changed some of the uses over the years. At one point, there was an oasis, I believe it was like a day spa that was there. There has been historically a dry cleaners on site as well as a couple other small businesses. Historically for the site, it has always been a shopping plaza. So some of those uses are remaining out here. For the new uses, it would be that daycare that would be in the back portion of the site, or 1 Hawthorne for the particular address. For the shared parking, essentially with our calcs, we are coming up with 103 total spaces, and we are going to be providing 95 of them on site. Of those 95, we do have 5 of them that will be handicap accessible parking spaces. And those will be designed to be ADA compliant in terms of the spaces themselves, as well as any access areas. And then we will also be having 8 total EV parking spots that will be utilizing 4 total EV chargers. 4 of them will be located on the 215 property portion of the site, and then 4 more of them will be located in the 1 Hawthorne portion of the site. As far as some of the other historical information for this site, pretty much the entire site is a pervious site. Of the 91,000 plus or minus square feet, only about 3,000 to 4,000 square feet of it has been a pervious grassed area. So with our proposal, we are proposing to essentially eliminate much of the curb cut that is going around the entirety of the property. And any of that pavement that exists there would be converted into essentially a 10-foot landscape strip. That will be helping with circulation on site because it will actually be directing traffic through 2 proposed, if you want to refer to them as proposed, curb cuts and any access along Joncas Terrace. I know, speaking with the applicant, there has been historic use of this property for a cut through where people will just speed through the parking area to get onto Worcester Street or some of the surrounding areas. So definitely this is going to be creating a vast improvement there from a safety aspect as well as anything else. As far as anything else goes, I'm more than happy to get into some of the specifics if the board has any questions on it. But generally, other than the portions of pavement that we're cutting out, we will be remilling and essentially resurfacing our parking area just to get everything to pitch to the existing drainage infrastructure. And in addition to the infrastructure as well, we will be making some minor improvements on the 24-inch culvert that is there. Just to make sure that is going to be a properly functioning pipe and catch basin structures on site. So again, I'm more than happy to go over any specifics that the board might have, or turn it over to Brian if he has anything extra he would like to add.
Shall we hear the other one too? Hear about the other half?
So the other half was the 1 Hawthorne. That was the part that I was mentioning about, like the extra 4 EV spaces down there. That would primarily be the daycare use. There is going to be landscaping and stuff that is proposed around the building as well as around the property. So that's all kind of included with the improvements that would be there. In terms of the access, everything would be utilizing those 2 curb cuts that I had mentioned off of Williams Drive and Worcester Street. And we do have a blanket easement that will be encompassing the entire site to allow shared access and easements, shared access and parking agreements for anybody navigating to any of the businesses out there.
I'm just curious. When I go past daycares at or things like that, at the right time, I have a lot of cars backed up or parked or whatever, picking kids up or that kind of thing. Do you have will that be happening just on your lot, or will that be happening out on the street?
So it is the intention for the daycare to keep all cars for drop-off purposes on site. Okay. We will be providing a 12-foot access aisle that is going to be in front of the building and wrapping around towards the rear parking area. So cars entering the site will be queued through that drop-off lane. Anybody who's not ready to drop off a child and or pick up a child will essentially be directed to where the employee parking area is for the teachers. Since all those teachers will be on site prior to pick up or drop off operations, blocking in a few of those spaces for queuing purposes would not be a problem. Since we do have 2 drive aisles there, essentially the intention would be to only block off half of the drive aisle so that we do have essentially a bypass lane for any other traffic that will be going through the site.
If I could follow up on that also, the hours for the daycare are going to be staggered drop-off times that are scheduled with the particular parents. And there is a formula, I'm not exactly sure it is, of how many children per family. So the drop-off is not limited to exactly the amount of seating, but it's also that second area that John was referring to. There's a lot of tremendous queuing space around the building. And if things do get a little bogged up, they can just move people to the backside with their drop off on the, that will be the easterly side of the structure.
Can you give us, or I didn't catch it if you told us, roughly how many students you'd
potentially
be
up
able
to 200.
have, and what age ranges?
Potentially up to 200. They go from infants all the way up to, I believe it's 8 or 9. I'm not exactly sure the final age of things. It's been a while.
From the youngest to?
To probably, 7, 8 years old, I would assume. Preschool.
Preschool is earlier than that.
A little
Okay.
younger.
My daughter's 9 and she's in 4th grade, if that helps you.
I know that people are looking for space.
There's a tremendous need. There's over 1,000 units of housing developed in town, so it's there's going to be an absolute need for it with the access to the Mass Pike right there too in the morning. It's
Yeah. No. Oh, was there something more that you wanted to do? Did I jumped in there?
no.
Up here.
Mr. Chair? So, is it Federico? Or
Yes.
Federico.
Okay.
Yes.
So, you had said that there are 103 spaces on the site, but, total spaces on the site, but, not only 95 on site. Can you explain that?
So it was 103 spaces required.
Yep.
And 95 would be provided on site.
Oh,
so
okay.
Essentially the shared parking agreement would really be only for 8 spaces or 7.8% of the total parking.
Okay, I thought you said that there was 103 spaces and there was 95 on site, but that's,
If I mispronounced or misspoke, I apologize there. But 95 spaces that will be painted on site, and then 103 spaces required.
yep. So you had said that there were minor improvements to the drainage, but your drawings show that you're replacing drainage pipes and, structures.
Yes, that is essentially the minor improvements. Essentially, we have, and Brian, correct me if I'm wrong, in the type of pipe that is out there, it's a liner pipe, if I'm not mistaken.
It's 24-inch well liner, and what they did
Well
was
liner.
they constructed out of brick. They basically chipped open the top and filled it in. We're going to put an actual structure offset of that, replace with the HDEP coming down from the one existing structure up by Hawthorne, which is a solid structure that was well done, all the way up to the point of the building access. It goes under the building. We obviously can't do anything about that, but from what I've seen of it, and I've looked in it, had it cameraed to a certain degree, it's in pretty good shape, but it still could deteriorate, and we just don't want to collapse after the fact. And by adding the new structure will help with some of the sedimentation too, by putting that new one off to the side there. The front portion of the building was done, I believe it's probably 6-7 years ago. There was a collapse out there, and they did replace it with new structures. So
Okay, you don't show a sidewalk on Worcester Street. There's at Cumberland's, there's a new sidewalk, and then if you go further down where the car dealership is, there's a sidewalk, but there's no sidewalk on this piece of property connecting these two sidewalks.
correct. It's a state property for one on the state highway that's on that portion there. But there's also all the main gas line is running right underneath it. We have not gone that far. We have not tried to achieve something over there. It's just a grassed area, which it'll be better than it is existing. I removed all those rocks from there, but we'll clear off some type of a pathway through there. But that has not even come up at this point where it's a redevelopment.
Well, I just brought it up. That's why.
I'm not sure how
So-
I address that, but,
So the, you know, the thing is that, you know, the town tries to put sidewalks wherever we can put sidewalks. Perfect spot for sidewalks is, and I'm looking at my computer, but perfect spot for a sidewalk is right there. I mean, personally, I'd like to see a sidewalk put in there. And, you know, proper curb cuts and, you know, I don't know where, you know, District Three feels, you know, lands on this. I know that I read some things that said the existing, curb cut, I call them curb cuts, they're really not curb cuts, they're just openings, they're driveway openings, are gonna remain so that you don't have to file with District Three. And I read District Three's regulations, and even if you're gonna be doing this and adding, landscaping to that area, you still have to file with District Three. So the sidewalk is big for me. I'd like to see that. The other thing is that the two pieces of property, and I know this piece of property has been rigged around and
has some history.
yeah, it has a lot of history, most of it pretty bad, but
Yes, it does.
And you already know that, right? So the open area that's, hang on, well, the amenity area off, I'm assuming it's off of the brewery.
In the back of 215 itself?
Yeah, it says outdoor amenity space, 6,765 square feet patio. Go ahead, Brian.
Well, I was just going to say, we're only, I've actually leased to the brewery about 2,500 feet of patio area. The rest of that would be utilized just as green space and snow storage. It's classified as amenity because it is an open space. In the summer, I'll put a couple of benches out there, a picnic table, so anybody from the daycare or whomever can stop by there.
I'm not complaining about the amenity space. My issue is that the back of the existing building is the property line. In the amenity space, the building is on one piece of property and the amenity space is on another piece of property.
There's going to be a deeded shared easement across the entire parcel, not just for utilities, but all access.
Okay.
And eventually, I'm going to redraw, I've already made the meets and bounds for new property lines over there.
So to get rid of the property line
To change it, yes, because it's such a, if you look at it, the way it's following the
Oh,
building
geez, yeah,
contour,
it's
it's, I don't know how
the only reason I looked at that was because, you know, we're talking, I mean, we're discussing both public hearings at the same time. But when you look at this, you say, oh, well, what if you decided to sell the daycare? You know, how do you operate this? But I'm glad to hear you say that you're trying to get rid of that property line. Because that would remove all these issues that are there.
just for the sake of expediency, didn't want to do it in advance of this and potentially for some of the loss of a pre-existing non-conforming lot status might have some impacts further down the road. So trying to get through this hurdle, address that after. That's a simple, I believe, an A&R issue, and they're just recording the deed with it. But again,
Yeah,
the meets and
you're
bounds are met, so.
So that was, those are some of the things that I saw after reviewing the plans and then reviewing some of the engineers' reports. You know, eliminating curb cuts and adding landscaping and, you know, filing with Mass DOT District 3 for new curb cuts and for sidewalks.
John, do you want to add anything to the Mass?
So with regards to the Mass DOT, just for the record, we weren't trying to not touch anything out there to avoid any sort of filings. It was just we analyzed the existing curb cut that's there with the small island. We don't necessarily see any reason or issues with it being laid out the way it was. So we were just going to propose to kind of continue with that use that's there. Would the board, before we file with anything on the Mass DOT side, have any concerns, issues with how that curb cut is currently laid out? You know, dimensionally, not meeting any requirements that you folks might be looking for there?
Mr. Chair, I don't have any problems with the curb cuts. Not at all. You know,
Okay.
those curb cuts have been there forever. That sign base has been there forever. What I have a problem with is I want a sidewalk there.
Okay.
Putting sidewalks there requires you to file with Mass DOT District 3 for a curb cut permit.
If I could,
So that won't be a problem on our end. I do have a question. Would that hold up any sort of approvals or anything that the town would give? Or as long as we're starting the process with DOT, can provide some correspondence that, applications or fees have been submitted for it, that's substantial enough in that case.
It would be added to the plans. The proposed sidewalk and curb cuts would be added to the plans, and any restrictions or whatever it was put the District 3 put on it, again, would be added to the plans. I don't think they're gonna change.
but could it be done as a supplement or anything? And I know the reason that John's asking is he knows the issue that we're facing right now is weather, time, the parking lot. I've got a meeting with COMCOM tomorrow night, hopefully wrap up that and be able to get I've got the DEP number already, but be able to go forward with starting to get some of the site work done. And a lot of the tenants that are in there, I need to, I've got time performances to be able to get this thing started and get things kind of wrapped up for the most part. That would be one of the last side issues that I'd address, regardless, because I'm sure you've seen it, ComGas out there quite a bit. The gas lines are through there. They're digging that place up all the time and inside sniffing. And
I mean, Mr. Chairman, I think if you change this plan to show that a sidewalk from one property line to the other property line with crosswalks connecting the existing sidewalks, then, it's up to the board, but as long as it's on the plan, that could be approved, so.
Yeah, and I think that a corollary to that would be that the
Pending District 3
right, right, exactly. The plan can show a proposed location for a
Yeah.
sidewalk with the understanding that that is pending District 3 approval.
Yep.
And however long, we've had a couple of other projects where there's been some work in the state right away, and it's acknowledged that, this is all subject to state approval, but
Yep.
I think, as I recall, the way we wrote those in the past was that our approval is not going to be held up waiting for the state approval for something like that.
could I ask this of you folks? Could this possibly be a asphalt sidewalk, whereas it is over those main gas lines that they're constantly digging up?
I think the sidewalks in front of Cumbies are asphalt, but I'm not sure, Brian.
Most of the sidewalks along, Worcester Street.
It's a mixture.
Asphalt, the project, whatever, a couple of years ago, they squeezed in sidewalks
Yeah.
Right.
here
I
and
think
there,
they are, I think they
most of the way, and they were
Sure. And,
cozy little asphalt
I think
walks.
what kind of pushed me too a little and to not really pursue anything on the sidewalk right in front of us, A, wanted to get the input, B, you don't have to. But the fact that it was drawn with a lot of the architectural design that was done from the company that the town had solicited, showing off-street parking there to pull in, which seems crazy to me. That's like a death sentence, but
You mean like a
it actually showed, instead of sidewalks there, it showed like a
lane?
parallel,
really?
parking there.
I would say, from my opinion, if there's gas lines under that, I think asphalt sidewalk is going to be a lot better, because if you try to do anything else and it gets dug up, then you have basically
That's why
it
I don't want
takes
to
a
do
lot
an
longer to
exercise,
fix.
just
Yeah, I
but
think
sure,
I've seen
no kidding.
other work that the state has done on their roads. I think I see asphalt sidewalks more often than not.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't see why not. Mr. Chair, just two more things.
Yes.
You show a snow storage area kind of like in the middle of the parking lot.
No, that was for during construction on that aspect, right? It was showing the we put hay bales and various materials and stuff where they could be isolated with noodles to be able to
Yeah.
protect them. Snow storage is really not labeled out good, but it is essentially, like I said, the lease only calls for 2,500 square feet. I think it's 2,400 and change
Of the amenity space.
for the amenity space for the brewery for outdoor seating and stuff. The rest would be utilized as snow storage in the wintertime, and if I have to do off-site, I'll have the machine down there.
And my last question, it has nothing to do with the site. Are you putting an elevator in that building?
In the back building?
Yeah.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, that'll all be fully sprinkled too, and so it'll all be brought up to a life safety issue. Both the buildings are currently pretty much down to a shell.
There was, I think I heard that this was taken care of, but I remember when we were out there a few years ago that, there's been this issue about where the dry cleaning fluids have been dumped into the drainage. Has that all been resolved?
It has. I just had a level 2 audit with the EPA, had them out there not just doing a field record searches and, reviewing all the LSP's notes, but actual doing a site walkthrough and questions, and it was very productive. And we've moved it to a phase 5, and we're finally looking for a closure, basically. So we've already had our RAM plan done, and our ROS plan has been filed. We've seen through monitoring and testing, there'll be ongoing monitoring and testing, and relying on natural attenuation of rainfall to be able to keep things, but it's been very productive. We took out about 300 and some odd tons of material, tens of thousands of gallons of water that was treated, and
Okay.
but it's clean. It was a serious threat. Basically, I had a ground penetrating radar in there, and we found an old septic that was part of the dry cleaner. And inside of that thing, it was off the charts. That's where all that area has been excavated and removed. So it's in good shape, and all the numbers have been dropping precipitously, and they're all suitable conditions. The daycare is obviously up gradient of it, not down gradient. The flows have all been documented, and it's all we haven't had any issues with indoor air quality or subslab.
Okay.
I have one more thing, Bob. I'm sorry, and I forgot to ask Brian. I can ask you, your engineer. It doesn't matter. The line that goes around the outdoor play space, and also across the front of the building. I don't know what that is. It's around there. Is that some
that's
type of
a
concrete
play yard.
wall? No, but is it some type of concrete wall? So
Oh, it's actually an elevation. It's going to be a block, landscape block. It's only about 18 inches difference in the grade that'll be proposed for the play yard area, but it'll all be fenced around it as well. So
okay, I just didn't know what that
yeah, it's
elevation was there. Yeah.
just trying to delineate that more because they're going to do the build out, and the fence is on them, not on me. So
That's it.
My only question that Ray didn't get to is there was one comment in our public record that I'm not sure if you've seen it about the vegetation being not native to the to this area. I don't know enough about vegetation species and stuff to really have a strong opinion on that. But my overall question is, are you amenable to having the vegetation change to be stuff that's more
yeah, there's certain things we were trying to go by. Obviously, salt content, things that are going to survive the winter instead of just putting things in to have them die. And that's why we went with a lot of ginkgos. There were some initial things that were proposed by the landscape architect that were real sappy, real messy, short lives. We're trying to go with some of the red maples, and then the dogwood bushes. There'll be some grasses. There'll be a lot of things added in. The daylilies. I'm not quite sure what's not.
And like I said,
There's nothing
I don't know
invasive.
enough to know what is the right answer
Yeah,
there. It's just
yeah.
I saw the comment and I wanted to just bring it up.
Yeah, and I don't think there's anything that's invasive. Obviously, they don't even sell anything invasive anymore. So otherwise, it'd be all burning bush. I love burning bush.
Which
Yeah, I've got some burning bush in my yard and it hasn't gone anywhere.
Same here. I've had them in my house, and I've transplanted them from one area to the other. I have never seen anything sprout up.
It's never gone invasive anywhere.
Yeah,
But, your mileage may vary on that.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Anybody up?
Just, I think this is more in the way of an observation because there's really nothing you can do about it right now. But the side of this that borders along which Jonkas Terrace runs, there's really not a lot of detail on the plan in terms of ultimately how these areas are going to be accessed. But given that Jonkas Terrace is in the process of being designed to become a public way, I don't imagine there's anything useful, meaningful that you can show on the plan. Currently there's no right-of-way line there. We don't really know what that's gonna look like when the town's done with it?
There isn't, I've spoken to Paul about that, Canoy from the department there, and, they're basically going to use the existing grades that are there, which is a slight, northward, down gradient pitch to it. And they're gonna kind of blend in, pick up a little bit of the catch basin that's on the front of the parcel over there, and they will shed some water into the other side. We do have a opening there where it can allot some of the water to go through. It's kind of a mess. I wish I had a better idea. I did reach out to Norman at Land Planning just to see if they had any more information that we could try to incorporate, but they're gonna have to marry towards this site. It can be done easily. It's nothing insurmountable. It's basically all flat. And
Yeah, because ultimately, the boundary between your land and what will become the public way.
yeah, and it will be with the parking area will be separated, obviously.
Yeah,
from
and
the
you'll,
parking
I
area,
think
so-
ultimately, I'm expecting we'll see something that kind of looks like curb cuts there.
Yes, yeah.
But, yeah, right now you don't know enough to show
It's
those.
really hard to, yeah, exactly. The place had a lot of boogers. I mean, it's a funny parcel. It's, borders on four sides. It's encompassing a whole block, between the structures, and some of them, like the Oasis, was actually over the property line. I tried to, in good faith, take that down early instead of hold that as some type of
Yeah.
marketing chip or whatever, but it's we're getting there. It's a lot of improvements, obviously.
Yeah.
And if you look at the initial site with some of the, and I get to see it firsthand, between the transient population that was there, the drug use that was there, it was incredible. I didn't realize how much it was until I was into the bowels of it, really seeing what was going on in that place. So it's much improved, and it's going to be a very nice, productive site. I think everybody's going to enjoy the brewery and the food establishment, the daycare. There's a clear need. And
We've been waiting a long time to see that site redeveloped.
getting there.
Okay, anybody on the board have anything now? If not, open it up for public. Hands if you have something to provide.
Okay, yeah.
I just have a question about
You have to tell us who.
Brian Sullivan, 17 Williams Road. I have a question. How I just can't see 200 kids being in that one building.
It's actually, the building is 13,000 plus square feet.
Yeah, I was there when it was just one level.
Yeah, no,
And then
there's
they
the
put
whole
a-
upper floor. It's,
Yeah, yeah.
will be petitioned.
And it had a couple fires too.
Not in that particular back building. That was.
Yeah, it
always
was.
the-
It
that was in
was.
the front building up where
No,
the daycare
I-
was.
I lived there.
But through me.
I lived there for 60 years. I,
I
there
wasn't
were-
aware of any fire.
there were fires up in that apartment building.
That is news to me. I've
Yep.
never seen any evidence anywhere, even looking
Yeah.
at all the framed out walls.
There was a fire
yes.
in the front building too.
Well, that I'm aware of. Oh,
Yep.
where the restaurant was.
Yeah.
Direct your
No,
discussion of us
but there were.
and
I just can't see 200 people there, and I don't think there's. I don't know how there could be 95 parking spaces. I want it to change. I love the fact of that.
Well, have you looked at the plans?
Yes.
Okay, did you count the parking places? That's how,
Yep. Yep.
that's how we tell.
You know,
That's why we have the,
I lived there too when the restaurant was there
Yeah.
and everything else, and there's just no way that with 95 parking spaces.
I think some space is opening up or has opened up though. Some of the building, some of the old building has gone away over the last few years.
Oh yeah, where the dry cleaners was.
Yeah, where the fire was, well, not,
No.
the fire was fixed.
Even where Oasis is in general.
Yeah.
There's gonna be,
But you got a play area too that's going to be out there.
5 parking spaces. Well, that's separate from the parking. There's gonna be 35 spaces where the Oasis structure itself was.
Okay, well,
Okay.
The
check,
spaces are there.
look at the plans and,
I did.
all right.
Mr.
If
Chair,
you'd like to talk
Okay.
after,
Mr.
I'm
Chair,
happy to speak to
just-
you about it.
just for talking about daycare centers. Daycare centers run now, new daycare centers run anywhere from 13,000 to 15,000 square feet. That's the normal daycare. New ones that are being built today.
And the population in those,
What Brian said, around 200.
so what he's talking about is pretty much typical.
It is.
Okay, so,
All right. Wait and
Okay.
see.
You know, I'm happy
Okay.
to address it.
Thank you.
If you ever
Okay.
Thank you.
speak to me, thank you.
anybody
But,
else?
Just for the record, once again, John Federico at G&H. That back building, we are intending to have fire sprinkled. So any concerns, if there is anything on the fire side, will be addressed through the improvements for that building.
Right. Are the buildings gonna be, or are they sprinklered?
They are, the building up front has been sprinkled, but that's all being redone. That sprinkler system is
Okay, and how about the back?
long gone. That's gonna be fully sprinkled also. In all the utilities, brand spanking new, from electrical service all the way up, so
Okay.
it's,
Does anybody else have anything to input at this point? Apparently not. What do we need?
We are still waiting for the peer review.
Right.
All right, we have to,
I spoke to Jeff over at Graves today. He's working on it. He said probably next week he should have it in. So I provided him with some additional information too. It's not so much relative to the planning board, but it is for Concom, so he can
you know,
digest that.
we have to have looked at it.
Sure.
So, I'm guessing that you might wanna ask us to continue the hearing,
I do,
and, how far out?
as soon as possible.
Well, the next meeting,
3 weeks to our next meeting.
3 weeks.
Sounds like if Jeff is already working on the peer review,
Yeah, he said he
Three-
should have it next week, but I
three-
understand,
right.
and I'd heard Fiona say that she's gonna be out for a little while.
Yeah.
Anything in particular? Is it-
Oh, three weeks is not gonna work, because that's town meeting.
yeah, that's why I said our next
we-
meeting is
we
3
meet-
weeks.
Our next meeting is on the 27th,
Yep.
so you want our next meeting.
I do.
All right,
Yeah.
and there's a form you have to,
And Talia does have her hand up.
oh, Natalia?
I just wanted to mention that a conflict of interest form was filed by Ray Mead. I'm not sure if he wants to clarify that. But the town clerk does have a copy of it, and so do we.
Yep, I forgot to say that I was a tenant in one of Brian's commercial buildings for 2 months, 25 years ago.
What was that? You were,
A tenant in Brian's
oh,
building.
tenant, oh,
Yeah,
Yes.
25 years ago.
yeah.
You
That's
have a
pretty
pre-existing
far back.
business relationship with Brian.
You could say that.
So you're gonna be asking for both hearings to be continued
Yes.
to the 27th.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to request that both the 1 Hawthorne Street and 215 Worcester Street hearings are continued to the 27th of October.
I move that we
Fiona
grant
has the
applicant's
paperwork.
forthcoming written request and currently verbal request to continue these both of these hearings until October 27th, 2025 at 7:30 p.m.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none?
Mr. Dalamole,
Aye.
I vote aye. Mr. Robbins
Aye.
and Mr. Hassinger.
Aye. Motion carries
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
unanimously. Okay. Very good. That,
We're down to our last public hearing.
I can see that.
How about that?
Continued from the 3rd of September, the 8th of September. All right,
Another
the,
Yes.
I have another conflict with this one. I didn't file a paper.
and you didn't,
I didn't file a notice on that, so
But you did, at a previous hearing, you noted that you were recusing yourself from
Yes.
this one.
yeah, I'm doing it on this one.
okay, we're, returning to special permit SP 2025-09 and site plan approval 18 and 22 Donahue Lane.
Welcome back, gentlemen.
Good evening.
Thank you. Good evening.
Myself, let's go over here. Sorry.
It's not you, trust me. Well, actually, it is you.
Thanks, Ray.
Anyway,
Thank you, Rick. Good to go? Okay, so, this, we're meeting again, this evening to discuss, the contractor's yard, truck terminal / truck freight and independent storage application, for 18 and 22 Donahue Lane. At the last meeting, we, the board had, kept the public hearing open and left it open and requested that a decision be drafted for review. The decision was uploaded into the record based on the request and the dialogue at the last meeting. The board should have had some time to review that. It was vetted by our town council. The applicant also had an opportunity to review ahead of time. There was a couple of things that we left, wanted to just make sure that the board had a clear understanding of some of the changes that are being proposed and have the opportunity to comment. But in addition to the decision being drafted, there was also a additional exhibit uploaded, Exhibit 15, in response to Mr. Wood's comment to get a little bit more clarification on the equipment vehicles and storage pods that are being proposed at the site. So I am happy to answer any questions the board has for me about the drafting process or the application in general, but otherwise we turn it over to the applicant.
You want to say anything first?
Just for the record, Attorney Matt Eckel with Fletcher Tilton. On behalf of the applicant, with me is Mr. Mark Silverman, the owner and operator of Mark's Moving and Storage, the proposed future owner and operator at this site. Should the application be approved, Ms. Coughlin gave a nice summary. I think we had a good discussion at the last meeting. Not a whole lot new to offer other than the new exhibits, which were requested to give an example of the pods and or the mods, I should say, and some of the trucks which would be stored at the site. As Ms. Coughlin mentioned, we had a little bit of back and forth on some of the specific language within the decision, which we're happy to talk about in greater detail with the board at the appropriate time. But other than that, not a whole lot of new information. Again, I think we covered a lot of it at the last hearing, and other than the exhibits, I hope we were somewhat on the same page. So we're happy to take any questions or comments.
Are we talking about our decision including the changes that I see in the online that I'm downloading from Friday, Friday.
Friday, I believe, was when it was uploaded. There was only one minor change since then, I think. One point of discussion, perhaps, and one minor change with some force majeure language. But the one change was there was a originally, I believe it was C31, if I remember off the top of my head, which town council had recommended being struck from the decision because it was redundant. It basically revolved around not having a commitment for maintenance, but nowhere else of the road, I should say, of Donahue Lane. But there was really nothing contrary to that in the decision, so it was a little bit of overkill and redundant. We're happy to keep it in, but town council had mentioned perhaps striking it for clarification purposes. We don't have an issue with it staying in. And then, as I mentioned, the one other change was the force majeure language in terms of,
I want to get to that, but
Okay. Those are the only changes I know of from Friday's upload.
I'm looking here and I'm seeing finding 25. I think this means that you were saying take it out.
I do have some comments that partially relate to the decision, but are a little bit more general for the public hearing. I do have some comments and questions that sort of relate to the decision, but are more kind of public hearing stuff. If you want, however you want to do that, Mr. Chair. Okay. So
Do whatever.
yeah, one thing I did notice in the draft decision, which is kind of more of a general question, is that, to my understanding, there is no Mass General Law definition of what a tractor trailer is, which means that having it in the decision as a tractor trailer is, a little ambiguous. The So I'm wondering if we can narrow that down in some way and possibly limit the maximum of the scope of that for, because you in a tractor trailer you can have in theory, 10,000, 20,000 pound metal things that are being stored that would probably pretty hard on Donahue Lane, but I don't know like if there is a particular limit to the business as far as what you store that we can put into this decision on saying you're not going to be transporting 100,000 pound things or whatever the number is, or that kind of stuff down Donahue Lane, or X number of trips, things like that in regards to the heavier type of vehicle movement.
I understand the question clearly. The tractor trailers, I believe, are registered for somewhere between 60 and 80,000 pounds gross vehicle weight. So use 80,000 for example.
Yep.
So we would have to have a reason to have a full trailer being stored in the yard. And yes, absolutely, that is a possibility. Remember that these are either furniture or machines that are on the truck. For the most part, either all of them or the majority of the trailers are what they're called air ride trailers, because usually the items have some value. It's not
Yes.
gravel, it's delicate machinery or antique furniture. And
Yep.
so they're air ride suspension, most of these trucks, if not all of them. But yes, there could be 40,000 pounds of something in a trailer. That's correct.
So would it be, hearing that they're registered for a max load of 80,000 pounds, would that be something we could just put in the decision?
Absolutely. I have no problem with that.
That was my big thing, so we can move on now.
I haven't been following along one of these where we have all the different colors, so I'm probably not understanding all the comes and goes on this. I'm not sure what we're talking about being the added or the final result. I keep seeing deleted 70 dB A, which is good. People keep saying dB, and that's not enough. I think that was at your request.
I think that was just to have a little bit of flexibility, whatever the legal limit is, whether that changes in the future, whether that changes for the type of equipment. So if 70 dBA is current and legally binding, then that's what we'd adhere to. If it were to change, I just figured having a number in there that is subject to change or subject to some discretion is a little bit more locked in than the standard at tomorrow or a year from now. So I think it was just to, not an effort to really change the result, just an effort to maintain its current status if appropriate at the time.
It avoids this going out of sync with whatever legal limits are current at any particular time.
The legal limit on this property will be, unless some legislation lowers it below 70, this decision will say 70 dB, and that'll be a condition on this property. So I'm not sure, that is a legal limit because it's a special permit. I'm always I have enough background with sound measurement to know to proceed carefully when trying to talk about sound management, noise management. We've had some cases in town where it came up. In fact, there's one coming back to us where it was like not increased more than so many dB over the background and all of that. So I'm not entirely comfortable with all of what we're trying to do with that, but I'm more concerned about the if I can find it. Where's force majeure? This is long. Does somebody know where it is?
It showed up in a couple of places.
Yeah, I know.
Don't remember exactly where off the top of my head, but
It was,
2 or 3.
I believe, the
In
tree line,
finding 9.
C 13.
The which?
It was in finding 9,
Oh, no.
in finding 11, down in finding 27 is mentioned, though that I'm not sure if that's the before or after thing. Finding 38, C3,
I see my problem.
C13. I mean,
Where I was looking this afternoon, had the document open with Word, and it was showing me things that now this is opened, well, no, it's opened with Word.
Yeah.
But on this machine, which is probably set different, and I'm not seeing them. I just thought there was, somewhere here we have recommended change in the language that brings up force majeure. And I thought that the way it was being put forward to us was not quite right.
yeah, the
like the
change
wrong
is
way
in C.
around.
Yeah, the change was in requested change was in C13. Requested change condition 13.
Condition 13.
Yes.
Let's see if I can get there. Condition. Yes. Subject to force majeure. Request made by the applicant. And I take it this is now what I see is the way you want to change to.
That's
The
correct.
applicant and or agent shall preserve the tree line and wooded buffer around the site, exhibit 13, at all times to maintain existing tree cover, subject to force majeure. No tree removal shall occur unless deemed necessary. It didn't read that way. That does. No tree unless there's death, disease, and risk to life, force majeure.
The way it's worded right now is basically if a tree falls or splits or whatever because of weather conditions that couldn't be foreseen, then it's not on the applicant to replace it with a like kind, with tree cover and size, etc. To do, because that's, but the tree removal could still occur if deemed necessary due to death, disease, or risk to life or property. That's how I read it.
And that was our intention, is that we have no, excuse me, no desire to change the site in any way. But if a tree were to fall due to circumstances out of our control, it wouldn't necessarily by this decision be bound to be a 1-for-1 replacement. So there's no desire to change anything. I think the language covers multiple times preserving what's there at all costs and through no fault or through, excuse me, we cannot through our fault cause any change, but should something due to force majeure happen, it wouldn't be an ultimate condition to immediately plant a new tree. So that was the thought process behind that.
That was what I was looking for it to say, more or less. Although I want you to put the trees back, but besides that. But at home this afternoon, I wasn't seeing it that way. There was some difference in the way it was coming up, and it was the wrong way around. Okay, who else has discussions or comments?
This is kind of a nitpick on the draft decision. In finding 25, there is the revised language, the last sentence, which says, shall any future owner or user seek to operate at the site, et cetera, et cetera. I think shall is better written as should. Shall tends to have a particular meaning to me when I'm reading things like this, and it doesn't quite fit here. I mean, the intent is pretty clear. If a future owner or user, if they want to do something different than this permit allows, they have to come up with a new special permit. So no question about that. It's just a nitpick on the wording.
We're certainly amenable to that change.
my only further comment, Mr. Chair, is that the public hearing is still open, so if we want to,
Yes. Do we have anybody who wants to make further input on this?
Good evening, John Renzoni, 7 Jordan Terrace. How we doing, guys?
We'll talk in a little while.
I did review the draft proposal, and everything looks pretty good. I see no real problems moving forward with it. I think the impact is definitely going to be less, for the neighbors. And my only question I had, which I had brought up with Fiona, which again is kind of nitpicking, like you would say, Dave, is no real definition of what a freight yard / trucking facility kind of entails. Because I know that the applicant wanted to add this in to kind of cover all his bases, which I understand, which is good because that way everybody knows what they can and can't do. But I mean, what can you and what you cannot do at a truck facility, a freight yard / trucking facility. There's nothing that really says, what can happen down there in respect to the use of the trucks. Is maintenance going to be allowed? Is repair work going to be allowed? Definitely at a freight yard or a trucking facility, depending on the definition you look up online, there's a lot of different things that can happen. And, again, I don't believe it's his intent to do anything that's going to disrupt the neighborhood, but that was just one little sticking point I had, is to try to get a clear set of parameters that are going to be in the special permit as to what can and can't be done in respect to, the trucks down there. That was my only real thought. Everything else I said, it looked good. And Mark seems like he's going to run a nice, clean, quiet operation. It's just, to cover the property owners, the abutters concerns, and also make, allow Mark, so he knows he's doing what he can and can't do, and we know that, yeah, he can do that, or no, he can't do that. That was my only real sticking point, but again, I know that there's no definition in the zoning bylaws as to what can occur, so I don't know if it's really worth it to add anything into the special permit, but perhaps the planning board should be looking at some of these zoning ordinances and getting some of these definitions, added in to get them a little clearer. That's about all I have on it.
Can I comment for a moment? So just to maybe set your mind at ease a little bit. So all of our equipment is serviced by either Tri-State Freightliner in Shrewsbury or Eagle Leasing for the trailers.
Yep.
As far as maintenance goes, we have no desire nor the competency to fix our own trucks.
Nobody wants to work on trucks.
If there were a marker light on a truck, or something needed a nut and a bolt, we're gonna do that.
Right,
We're gonna
I
do it.
understand that.
If
Yeah.
we discover that a truck has a flat tire, I'm calling a tire company and they're
Right,
gonna come down.
Pete's
and
is
they're
coming
gonna
out to fix it. Yeah.
But we have no intention, and remember that we're also fairly limited. I mean, it's 8 acres or whatever it is, but we can only use
Right, a
whatever,
small
very
portion.
small amount.
No, I
So-
understand that.
So there's no intention of turning this into a repair shop.
No, I didn't want it to come across that way, that I was implying that you were gonna do that. I was
understand your concern.
just trying to cover everyone's
Understood.
behinds to make sure that we're all, we know what is allowed and isn't allowed there. And that's kind of a gray area in this whole thing. That's about the only sticking point that I saw in the whole draft. But other than that, I think that it'll be better than it has been down there and better for the neighbors. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Karen Merrill, and I live at 15 Hollywood Drive. Nice to meet you. I agree. I think we're much more encouraged with this situation today. I would say, just from past lessons and, having gone through this for several years now, one of the things I think that helped us a lot was to have a contact as neighbors. We had a contact at Macura, for example, the foreman. I think his name was Mark also, by the way, but we could reach out to him. Mike also offered to let us email if there was an issue. I think there was a level of comfort for me knowing that I could do that if something came up, and you know, otherwise we have to go back to these guys. We have to go to the, you know, sorry, I'm forgetting the name of the guy at the town.
Administrator.
What is it? Yeah, the building department, and leave a recording on the, you know, leave a message on the, and nobody ever calls back. So I was just wondering if you would be open to having us have a contact.
That's absolutely. So for better or for worse, my cell number is published everywhere.
I wasn't going to go that far, Mark, but
Published everywhere, and I'm very reachable. Unfortunately, you know, I don't get a lot of calls of concern. I do have a team that assists me, so at some point I might say initially, you know, call me, email me, and then at some point I may say, I'd like to introduce you to this man. You know, he's more actively involved, 15 hours a day or whatever. But yes, communication is critical, very important, and I'm very easy to find.
thank you.
For better or for worse.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
My name's Bill Fairbanks, 4 Dunhill Lane. I can't remember everything, but when Mike McCure was in here back a year or so ago, it was requested about a turnaround for the rubbish trucks. And the board granted it, and it was in those, in the paragraphs, that it would be maintained, I don't know how, 80 feet or whatever it was. And I'm just wondering, are we gonna have the same thing? And what happens in the wintertime?
It's in the proposed decision. It's 100-foot diameter at the beginning for trash trucks, fire trucks, whoever needs to use it. I will keep it clear of all items. As far as the maintenance of it, I think the hope is that when the snow plow's coming down the street, that he's gonna make sure the rubbish trucks keep it clear.
Well, I don't think so, only because that road is just a right of way, but the town granted about 25 years ago to plow it during the wintertime, but they didn't say anything about going on to somebody's property and
Well,
clearing out in there.
to be blunt, I'm good giving up 10,000 feet of space. Somebody else is gonna have to figure out how to get it snow plowed. It may be plowed by us, because we need a clear space, but, quite frankly, I don't want that obligation, because I don't want, as I said, my phone number, my email's out there. I don't want someone calling me, telling me it's a little icy, can you come salt it? I don't, want that responsibility to keep it clear of snow, but I will keep it clear so they can do what they want.
But you weren't around, so just to know why it was requested is because the rubbish trucks are backing up the street and it's illegal to go onto Worcester Street. So what do? They turn on somebody's property. So it was granted in the yard, because the yard's big enough down there to give them space to be able to turn, and it was kind of set aside a little bit.
And we will maintain that area, and we will keep it clear of any storage. And the snow plows, when they come down, we
Yep.
can coordinate with them to at least tell them they're allowed. They have to turn around too, so if they want to turn around there and push the snow, that'll be a win for
Yeah.
all. But
I don't know if you want to put any sign there, you know, turn around or anything like that, so people won't go through your whole property. You know, it's just a thought, that was all.
The town, I guess, did vote, or probably the select board, or the board of selectmen, probably decided to plow Donahue Lane.
Yep.
Now that circle is essentially a part of Donahue Lane.
Yep.
Functionally. I mean, it's a right of way, essentially. So, since it's town stuff, you know, the rubbish and whatnot is town operated, probably the town will wanna make it so the trucks go.
Okay. The one that could have answered that was probably Ray Mead, because he's the one that talked the selectmen into allowing it to happen.
Okay.
And
No.
Mr. Fairbanks, just to call it out, we do have in our draft decision that it's a requirement of the applicant to maintain that 100-foot turnaround area as far as clearing it of storage and keeping it available for use. The applicant in this decision also is not required to do the general maintenance, which includes snow plowing.
No, I wasn't asking for general maintenance, or just, was it gonna be clear so that they didn't have to back up the street or take somebody else's property to?
Other than
Trying to
snow,
figure
which
out.
someone else will have to deal with. As the
And I think it would
applicant
be
said.
advantageous to your people as well if they had to go in there to drop off a pod or pick up a pod or.
Absolutely, keeping that 100-foot diameter circle for all the uses that
Yeah.
you've mentioned, we're agreeing to that, and it will
I
be
mean-
beneficial to everybody.
Nobody really goes down that street other than whoever at the end. So I don't think you have to worry about the public going down there.
I think it will work out well.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good.
We have a hand raised on Zoom.
Oh, really? Go ahead. Hello?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Hi, this is Steve Area at 13 Hollywood Drive. I just have a question. For machinery that's going to be stored on site in the pods, I do worry about potential fire hazards close to my home. Just would want to, if it hasn't been explained yet, could you give an example, Mark, what an example is of what could be stored? I just worry about like machinery being operated on site, and we had a really bad experience with the previous owner, just operating who knows what on site, and I just worry about that.
Probably easier for me to explain what I won't be storing there. I won't be storing anything that's hazardous, anything that's flammable, anything that's combustible. Obviously, my trucks are operated by gas, so the trucks will have fuel, but we're not storing anything. We have a mutual objective to keep things safe. My containers, my equipment are very expensive. I don't want them burning up or creating any hazards. So the answer to the question is that when we store things, nothing flammable, nothing combustible, nothing corrosive. So we share that concern.
Okay, that's helpful. Thank you. And then this, once again, most of my concerns go to the previous owner and negative experience we had. So it has nothing to do with you, but I just worry about hours of operation being followed and, weekends being quiet and after work hours with my son, being quiet. So I just worry about those hours of operation being followed.
So we will abide by the decision, which limits our hours to
Limits your hours.
limits our hours. And again, I'm very accessible. And the last thing, I would like to meet you, but for coffee or something, not with a complaint. So the last thing I want is you calling me, telling me that, a truck or a crew or someone's making too much noise. I'm in year 47 of my business that started with money I borrowed on a credit card. So I'm very in tune to what it takes to succeed and what it takes to keep people happy. And I can't keep everybody happy, but I'm very empathetic to people's concerns.
Okay.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
If we don't have anything more that we really need to hear, it might be time to close the hearing.
I move that we close this
If I may,
hearing. Oh,
sorry,
go ahead.
just before we close the public hearing and you go into private deliberation, I think it's still a little ambiguous, the sound. And I know I'm no sound expert either, so we just thought the legal limit, whether it's time of day, whether it's at the property line from 50 feet or 10 feet, obviously we're not really near a property line, but
But what are we saying now in the draft decision?
to comply with
Just the legal limit.
The legal limit, that's
So
the modified language.
if it comes up, we'll figure out what the legal limit is. It's sort of like what controlled the Creeper Hill Road situation. There were standards, above us, the state or federal, that really were what controlled it, controlled their problems.
Yeah, there are currently state standards for noise. We have been discussing off and on enacting a noise control bylaw of some sort for the town. that's still up in the air. There's a desire to do that. So maybe someday the town will define the legal limit in a way that is possibly more restrictive, but at least obviously can't conflict with the state. But that's for the future.
I have a thought, and that might satisfy Mr. Hassinger's desire for a hard number, and it just a thought that we could go with this board and the applicant wanted to is a maximum sound difference of 7 dBA, or the legal limit, whichever is lower.
Between what and what?
Yeah, fair.
No. No.
Yeah, there's considerable difficulty in trying to define noise and objectionable noise, and in the context of this decision, I'm more comfortable referring to a legal limit and let whoever defines that legal limit work the details of that.
Works for me.
Yes. Right. Forgotten what I was gonna do with that, but that's a good thing. Okay, is there anything else? Otherwise, this is a hearing. It would be the time to close the hearing.
And
Wouldn't you
My-
think?
let's let Justin resume making the motion.
I move that the board close the public hearing.
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded. Discussion. Hearing none.
Mr. Dalamole.
Aye.
I vote aye. Mr. Robbins.
Aye.
And Mr. Hassinger.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Are we at the point of approving a decision?
It seems to me that we've been deliberating on the decision during the public hearing. So do we have any remaining deliberation that we need to do on the decision?
I sure hope not.
My only question is, would the applicant prefer us to, we could do what we want. Would the applicant prefer us to vote on the decision tonight knowing it's a special permit and the need 4 members to say yes, and we don't have one absent tonight? Or would the applicant prefer us to hold over for 3 weeks till our next meeting and do the vote then?
They only have 4 votes tonight. If we wait till the 27th, we have a 5th vote.
No, they have 4 people available tonight.
Yes.
No,
Yeah, based on the communication and the process with the board, we're comfortable moving forward tonight.
Works for me.
Okay. The only other thing, I guess again in the nature of a nit, but I think the last time I looked at the draft decision, just downloaded it this evening, it's still maybe missing the latest exhibit, the photographs of the equipment.
I need to add the last,
So that
exhibit
would be-
15. Mm-hmm.
So that'd be adding any remaining
Mm-hmm.
information to the draft decision that we haven't already read.
Mm-hmm.
And considering all the discussion that we've had on the draft decision, I'll offer a motion that the board approve the draft decision edited as indicated during our discussions with favorable findings, granting all the requested waivers and with all the conditions, again, as drafted with any modifications that occurred during this discussion.
I will second that.
Moved and seconded. Discussion. Roll
Just
call.
checking for, yeah, sorry, here.
Go ahead.
Over here, Bob.
Go ahead.
Just checking for reconciliation, from the current owner to now, right? When I went through the conditions, we've got the hours of operation, the types of vehicles, the different uses restricted, the turnaround. Am I missing anything that was sort of negotiated in the previous run through with the abutters? Or it seems like we have most of it, but I just want to double check Fiona or whoever can kind of remember both.
Sure. So, if I may, Mr. Chair, so the the berm and maintaining the berm in the existing wooded area, keeping the right of way clear, and obviously there was a discussion about a gate at the entryway that we clarified during this hearing process that would definitely not be in place. The previous owner had a couple of additional measures installed tailored to his operation, including specific signage and whatnot, but that doesn't apply here. It's a different operation. Turnaround, the road maintenance was obviously, we've discussed that ad nauseum. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else.
No, I feel
don't
like we
believe
got it. I
so.
just wanted to make sure I wasn't missing anything.
Yeah, no, thank you, Greg.
Are you okay? Greg, you okay?
Yes.
Okay. Anything else?
All right, Mr. Dalamole.
Aye.
I vote aye. Mr. Robbins.
Aye.
And Mr. Hassinger.
I vote aye. Motion approved.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, thank you very much.
Thank
Thank you all very much. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, and I'm glad that the folks back there are okay.
And thanks to everyone for their participation.
Absolutely.
I don't believe
I'll
that there's
follow
any,
up with the.
I don't believe there's anything else that can lawfully come before us. Therefore, we do not need to extend past 10.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Moved and seconded. That's not debatable. Roll call.
Mr. Dalamole.
Aye.
I vote aye. Mr. Robbins.
Aye.
And Mr. Hassinger.
Aye. We are adjourned. Thanks all.